Welcome. This short video is going to be looking and exploring mental immunity. Previous videos have looked at how we can restore our physical immunity, how our physical immunity is compromised when we are under fear or when we experience threat, when we go into the flight-fight response system, and how this changes our physiology and how that change in physiology impacts our immunity. That is to do with the physical immunity. So today, I would like to explore mental immunity. So the Gurmat model of health has 4 components: mind, emotions, physical health, and transpersonal health. Health begins with the mind. So mental immunity is absolutely critical in order to ensure that we can build a level of resilience, and we are also able to protect ourselves from the content which can create mental confusion, which can lead to triggering of the flight-fight response system, content which is difficult to forget. For example, content which is to do with abuse or violence sometimes is easily to see but very difficult to remove within your psychology. So what do we mean by mental immunity? Well, immunity means to be able to protect yourself from pathogens or from those things that create diseases. So within our physical health, when a child is born, the child's exposure to everyday life, to just foods, air, water, etc., and human beings, all of this enable the child to build up antibodies against the pathogens that are around in our environment, and therefore the child develops a very strong immune system. And you will notice that those children who have been kept in ultra clean environments tend to develop allergies later on. Why? Because their bodies have not become accustomed to the various amounts of compounds, molecules, pathogens, bacteria, viruses, dust, etc. that's around us. So, if we can build our physical immunity through exposure to pathogens, the same is not necessarily true for our mental immunity. With our mental immunity, we have to exercise a level of discernment, discretion, where we make a conscious choice whether we allow certain content to go within our psychology, within our memory. So for example, if we now watch the general mainstream propaganda channels, you will notice that most of them are fear-inducing language. All language is there which induces a sense of concern about your health, concern about death, even our social distancing, when we go shopping, etc. All of this content, people wearing masks, all of this is content that has an impact on us because we perceive these different environmental factors through our senses, and as a result our body reacts to it, or our sense of self reacts to it, which changes our physiology. So how do we ensure that we maintain some level of discernment? Well, the most important element, in other words, your vaccination to mental pathogens, your ability to protect yourself and develop your mental immunity begins with meditation. Meditation is the vaccination for mental immunity. The more you meditate, the more this immunity strengthens. How does it work? Well, through meditation, particularly when we go through a process, and we have learned through a teacher with some guidance and some lineage, then you will recognize that through your meditation, of course, you become calm and all this, tranquil and relaxed. These are side effects of meditation. This is not the purpose of meditation. The purpose of meditation is to become present. And when we become present, we will notice that at times our focus is distracted when we are focusing on the breath, for argument's sake, or on a sound. When we discover that our focus has drifted, over time we become accustomed to recognizing what is distracting our focus. And through this, we begin to develop a distance between the content of our mind, the content, all the language, all the storytelling, all the imagery, all of this is the content of the mind. And we begin to learn how to step back and become more embedded and identified in the awareness that we are. So in other words, through meditation, we develop a separation between the content of our mind and awareness. And through this, we begin to recognize that the content of our mind at times is not healthy. A content of our mind can be self-negating. The content of our mind could be playing the same story over and over again, where you are either a victim or you feel persecuted. So as a result, this creates a level of change within your physiology if you do not separate yourself from the content. So mindfulness meditation, or right mindfulness meditation, not this Mickey Mouse McDonald's version of stuff, but right mindfulness meditation will help us develop a perspective in which we recognize that we have a mind, but we are not our mind. And this recognition is the foundation of your mental immunity. So mental immunity begins and is strengthened with meditation, consistent meditation, in order to recognize that we have a mind, but we are not our mind. The second element is to make sure that you exercise discernment and judgment in terms of what content you wish yourself to be exposed to. So if you expose yourself to the propaganda channels, you will find very soon that you develop a sense of fear, a sense of concern. This obviously lowers your physical immunity, but what's happened is that you have allowed your mental immunity to be completely absent, and therefore allow this pathogenic language, this disease-causing language, to filter within your psychology, within your subconscious, within your conscious, and that will then have a long-term impact on you. So exercise discernment, allow yourself to be aware what you're watching, what you're listening to. And by doing this, just like you would avoid poisons in everyday life, the propaganda that we are hearing around us is no different. It is psychological propaganda, psychological poisoning. And this poisoning will have a lasting impact on your health and well-being. So continue your meditation and allow yourself to exercise discernment. Thank you.